And now to our first conversation. The hospitality industry was one of the hardest hit sectors during the pandemic, with travel disruptions, lockdowns, and many other challenges holding the industry down. As we come to grips with the new reality of rising energy costs, squeezed incomes, let's get the perspective of hotel investments in Nigeria. Join us now is Aaron Garnier, Senior Director, Development Africa, Radisson Hotel Group. Join us via Zoom. Great to have you on the program.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, so Aaron, quite a number of headwinds right now impacting that industry. But how is this affecting pipeline growth for hotel brands?
You know, we've been present in Africa since 2000, so it's been more than 20 years. And COVID was obviously a unique event during this period. So the impact has been delays in the pipeline, but the pipeline is still strong. So we have 50 hotels open and 50 hotels under construction. So we have around 100 hotels in total in development in Africa today.
And talking about new deal signings, you know, coming to Nigeria, how is that looking at this point?
You know, the signings are looking good because the dynamic of the continent and the dynamic in Nigeria remains the same. There is a high demand and low offer of hotels. This dynamic has not changed. What has changed with COVID is that the access to funding is more challenging and the cost of development is higher because of raw material being more expensive, transportation being more expensive. So at the end of the day, the new signings are happening. In fact, 2022 has been a record year for us in terms of opening hotels. We opened 12 hotels in Africa in the past 12 months, which is a record, best year in the past 20 years. And the reason for that is our strategy in focusing in conversion, meaning in focusing on converting existing hotel into a branded Radisson, and also the delays due to COVID had an impact into the opening.
Right, and in terms of return on investment, how rewarding is the success of international hotel projects in Nigeria so far compared to, you know, other African countries?
You know, Nigeria is a key market for Radisson, and there is a good reason for that. It's we foresee to have much more hotels. We foresee to have 50% more hotels in the next 4 years to 5 years. And the reason is most of our owners are looking at expanding even more the existing hotels we have, meaning that they want more hotels on top of the hotel they currently own. And the reason is a return on investment. The return on investment is strong because the market dynamic is there. In Nigeria, most of the market is what we call domestic market. So regardless of the impact of COVID on the international market, we've seen extreme good results. For example, I'm currently staying at the Radisson Blu Lagos VI right now, and it was 100% full last night. So overall, the performance in Nigeria of hotels, due to the market dynamic and due to the lack of offer, is doing very well, and the return on investment is solid.
And some analysts say that demand is falling short. You know, right now, obviously, we have squeezed incomes, rising prices, you know, at this time. How is demand, you know, really looking right now?
You know, again, if we're taking the case of Nigeria, and we can take the example of Lagos, we've seen the demand having an evolution in the past 2 years. And the main reason is mostly our hotels were driven by business segment, business customers, and what we call MICE, meeting and events and incentive. And with COVID and the fact that the borders were closed, we've seen a lot of leisure business not going abroad, but staying in the country and using five-star hotel for leisure purpose, which was not the case before COVID. So we see the impact today of having new segment, what we call in the business leisure, which is business customer extending themselves as leisure customer. So we see today our hotels being full 6 days out of 7 because of the fact that we are attracting business, corporate, governmental, and leisure business, all in the same product.
Yeah, but you know, we've had rising energy prices, you know, globally, and back here in Nigeria, we've seen the cost of diesel, you know, skyrocket, and you know, everyone is paying more for energy this time. How are you guys navigating all of this, and how's it impacting your ESG?
It's impacting heavily the ESG, what we call in the business here HLP, which is heat, light, and power. We've seen increase in many of our properties, and the key for us is to keep the business going while adapting to the market reality. And these elements we can control. What we can control is managing better our properties and relying more on saving better and being more conscious of the consumption, but the price itself is something we don't control, but we can manage as much as possible energy control and energy saving, which is part of the culture of Radisson for a long time. So we're enforcing existing processes in order to at least save as much as we can. But we're definitely seeing an increase into electricity, light, and power costing across our hotels worldwide, and not only in Nigeria or in Africa.
Now we know, you know, most countries now are pledging, you know, to move to net zero, you know, at some point, and we also have, you know, major businesses also looking to, you know, move away from dirtier alternatives. How is that looking, you know, going forward?
I didn't hear the last question. Can you repeat?
Yeah, I said, you know, most countries are making pledges about moving to net zero, you know, transitioning from dirty, you know, fuels. And we also have businesses looking to, you know, to have their net zero targets also. How is it looking, you know, going forward with the net zero pledges?
Radisson is planning on reducing wastage and going to this net zero as part of a global incentive that is part of what we call our 5-year plan, and the sustainability aspect of our operation is quite central. So it's something that is part of our plan and very much in the heart of our strategy moving forward in Africa and globally.
Yes, and right now, you know, Nigeria is still a hot market, you know, at this point. But where do you see the industry, say, in the next 5 years?
We see the industry growing because Nigeria remains key economy on the continent. So we see more branded hotels in the key cities of Nigeria. And the reason for that is customers want more branded hotels. They are looking for more, obviously, safety, which is a key element that drives people in staying in our hotel, but also experience. And so thus I see more development of hotels in Lagos, in Abuja, in Port Harcourt, and in the key capital state cities of the country.
Yeah, quite an optimistic forecast you have there. But, you know, we've had issues, you know, in Nigeria, most especially insecurity. You know, how are you guys, you know, managing, you know, with the insecurity in Nigeria? It's been an issue, you know, most of this year.
Be very transparent with you. We've been facing, you know, the security challenge has been, I would say, priority number 1 in our operation across our portfolio of hotels. And we're operating in 135 countries, which are places sometimes even more challenging in terms of security than Nigeria. So we have an entire team that is dedicated to this topic and review in terms of development prior all the different parameters in order to ensure that we are the most secure hotel, in fact, in the market. And this is a drive that we have as a promise to our customers, to our employees, to our stakeholders, but also it's an aspect of business because we also want to attract the right business, including the governmental business that is extremely focused on security. And so far, we are being successful at it, but it does require a lot of investment and also a lot of focus. And this is what we are doing in the best interest of everybody.
Right, and we also have the issue of Forex. You know, most companies, you know, talking about how difficult it is getting their money out of the country. How is it looking for you?
It's a process. So we're, as everybody, we're very aware of it, and we comply with NOTAP, which is the governmental regulation that we are working with in order to have Forex outside. It's just a process to comply with, and I think to have a lot of patience, but we are being able to work with it.
Well, very good that you're able to manage it, you know, on your end. All right, thank you so much, Aaron Garnier, Senior Director, Development Africa, Radisson Hotel Group. It was great having your perspective on the show.